Welcome to Storytimer. Vickie Lynn Harrell. Vickie Lynn Harrell was 25 years old in August of 1972. She worked in Bloomington, Indiana. Bloomington was and still is a very fun college town. It's the home of Indiana University. Whenever I manage to get there, I like to enjoy lunch at the Trojan Horse and order the flaming cheese. Mama Bear's Pizza is also a delicious place to have lunch. Bloomington is a town of bookstores, restaurants, and many cultural offerings. I'm sure Vickie Lynn enjoyed living there in 1972. Vickie worked as a clerk in a department store. She shared an apartment with a roommate. She was 25 and enjoying life in a vibrant town. She was last seen alive getting into her car at Kmart. She was found face down on August 12, 1972, in a puddle of water by the side of the road near McCormick's Creek State Park outside Bloomington. There were initials carved on her nude body. They appeared to be K.N. Her neck showed signs of strangulation. One of the prime suspects in this murder is Jeffrey Lynn Hand. Vickie was murdered in August, and Pamela Milam was murdered in September. Both were taken from college towns. These towns are only about a 90-minute drive apart. I'd like to know where Vickie's car was found, or if it was found. Jeffrey Lynn Hand definitely murdered Pamela Milam. In 2018, DNA would prove that he was guilty of that crime. One thing we know about Hand is that he drove around quite a bit. In 1973, he was driving from Terre Haute south to Gibson County when he abducted the Thomases. He had just been fired from his job in Gibson County. What was he doing driving to Terre Haute and back? He first attempted to rob Mr. and Mrs. Thomas. I wonder if he committed armed robberies too. He had a couple of handguns and knives. He would need money. He had a wife and 2 children living in Washington, Indiana. We know that he murdered Pamela Milam in September of 1972 because, I said earlier, DNA matched him to the crime decades later. We know that he attempted to abduct Susan Matlock in 1978. He shot at police, wounding 1, and was subsequently shot and killed by officers. I think there are a lot of crimes that should be looked at with Jeffrey Lynn Hand in mind. They have his DNA. Hopefully evidence was saved so that comparisons can be made. In the death of Vickie Lynn Harrell, Stephen Judy can't be a suspect. He was only 12 and couldn't drive. He was not even yet 13, but already in custody for a brutal rape and a hatchet attack. It could be someone else, though. Police in the 1970s were looking at a couple of other similar murders, 1969 and 1970 in Pennsylvania and Maryland, where initials were also supposedly carved into the victims. Vickie Lynn Harrell was only 25. What would her future have been? She deserved so much more. Hopefully, evidence has been preserved in her case and can possibly be tested. Rest in peace, Vickie Lynn Harrell.